why is Dune so hard to adapt? It's such a dense novel. There's so much in that book. There's so much there. It's very weird. Like there's a lot of weird. It gets weirder as the books go on. You're like, what? But it's just, and a lot of it's inner monologues, and there's no descriptions about things. And these people they're all human, but they're all crazy smart. A lot of them, they're hyper intelligent. So when they're working things out in their head, it's just, how do you explain this?
Hello and welcome to the 86th episode of the 30s podcast. My name is Clint.
My name is Marcus.
Hello, Marcus.
Good afternoon, Clint.
Good afternoon.
It's a rainy Saturday afternoon here in Orange County.
Rainy Saturday, very inconsistent.
Very annoying. It was a beautiful, shining sun yesterday. It was just like birds were singing outside. It was one of those amazing days. And then you wake up today and you're like, what the Sorry, it's only been 45 seconds, but...
Sorry, producer Caesar, who's over there.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Apologies. He knows by now.
Yeah. This all has to be edited out.
Yeah, it's
Like
fine.
it takes so much more time.
Well, does it? Does it take a whole lot more time to edit out my language?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's okay.
Okay.
I bill appropriately.
Okay. Wow. Notice why I said my language and not our language.
It is just your language.
I know.
Clinton never curses. Maybe once in a while, like a here and there, that I'm going to have to edit that out.
Yeah.
I try not
Get
to.
him off the mic. It's different. If we ever do a drunk episode, which we haven't done one of those, we've been intoxicated.
Yeah.
We've had drinks on the show, but if we ever do like a drunk episode where we just get wasted, it's going to be a lot of censoring.
It's like 2 weeks. You need to record that 2 weeks before publishing.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of censoring. It'll be a lot of listen back. Like, can you cut all of this out?
Lots of editing.
A lot of jump cuts. Because
Lots of editing.
a lot of this.
And you know what else I think about the cut?
So
That'd
maybe
be
we can do
funnier,
that.
though.
Yeah, maybe we should do that for episode 100, and just do like a really long episode of just heavy drinking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like things for us to do, like activities, because you can't shoot this. I want like a long one. Like you can only shoot this for so long without having something.
Do you want like a 2 hour, like a Joe Rogan length episode?
Maybe
3 hours.
Just see how long.
3 hours?
Because if we're gonna get like drunk, it's gonna take a little bit, you know. And yeah, just because I especially we need something to like narrow in
Focus,
on.
yeah.
To be like, let me tell you about this. You know, so
Instead of just getting hyped on everything and then saying what I really think about stuff.
yeah, that could be fun.
Oh no.
So I think I'm making the plan now. Episode 100 is going to be the drunk
100.
episode.
So it'll be like a two-parter.
Are we going to do it as a full ep?
Wow.
Although I don't think that'll catch people like 2 hours. Jeez, listen to
What
this.
did these guys do?
Yeah, that could be the drunk episode. No substance abuse or no drugs.
Right.
But I think maybe I could do I can make a strings like a bar.
That'd be
I've
cool.
talked about doing a bar episode now that we have room.
Yeah,
because
there's room
before
to
we
do
were just in the studio.
That
So
episode will be on June 25th if we don't miss a week.
okay.
June 25th.
Okay. Now that we have space to where I could get like a bar cart in here or something, or just something where I can reach for and be like, here's how you make a Manhattan. Here's how you make a sack, whatever. And that's what gets us drunk. So if that takes some planning, though, I'd have to plan out what to make for us.
That could work,
I
yeah.
could do like a deep dive on the history of something, because
Ooh.
I do have a couple of coffee table books that are like classy cocktails, whatever, and they kind of explain about them, and that could be fun.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. And since last week we talked about Drugstore Dune, and I didn't really deep dive on it. I kind of just glossed over it, but I had fun doing that. And I think I liked to do, quote, deep dive stuff, like really narrow in on something and just learn about it or just explain it, whatever, which I'm going to do today for you.
Yeah.
Spoiler. That could be something fun.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Could that be something what do you guys feel about that? If we do like a Marcus deep dive? Maybe like once a month, because every week's kind of hard, but would that be interesting?
Yeah, because I think you like specific things,
Right.
and like for me, I would love to know why most of the time.
Okay.
And so usually
Because a lot of
If
the
you do a
stuff that
deep
I'm
dive.
into is not the stuff that you're into.
Yeah.
So I could be
Usually.
teach you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like today,
Like to.
today it's like, it's this thing that inspired so much of the stuff I like
Oh yeah.
and so many filmmakers I like.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I do want to say this will be mostly about Dune, but I do want to point something out. When I was driving in here today, again, it's raining outside, so it was kind of traffic, the route that I took to get here. So I was behind this car for a while, like in bumper to bumper traffic, and it was a Honda Odyssey, which is already a red flag.
Yeah.
But they had a sticker on the window that said "baby."
Oh,
Yeah,
What
and it
is-
was in like the girly.
like a child baby, like
It
baby
just
on
said
board.
"baby bit." No, it just said "baby bit." And I kept trying to get it to see who was driving this car. Like, who's got a sticker, a Honda Odyssey that says "baby bit"
Yeah.
on the back of it? And it was like the girly writing.
Who? What would they look like?
I couldn't get around them.
Was it a mom?
I couldn't see them. I couldn't get on the other side of them before I had to get off the freeway.
Yeah, it's like a mom of like 5 who doesn't do much, just takes care of kids, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to live a little bit today.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this sticker on the van.
So she's the baby bit. She just keeps popping out babies. Like, I'm the baby bit.
You want another one? I'm the baby.
Baby. We don't have to
bitch.
bleep that, do we?
We're at 6 minutes.
I think we do.
We've said it so many times.
See?
Dang it.
See my life, guys? Hey, I really enjoy doing this show, but
Sorry.
this is what I have to do.
You know what you should have done, Caesar? Is as soon as I said it the one time, you'd be talk about it later.
Don't want to interrupt the flow. It'll be like a baby compilation. Just blank, blank, baby, blank, blank, blank.
Blank, blank, baby, blank, blank.
Or you could set up a swear jar.
No. Well, what would I put? I put pennies.
We'll put pennies. We'll put
pennies.
paper clips.
Not paper clips. Anything jingly. That could be okay. Fun prop that we're gonna have every episode is the swear jar, because I do want to make this set more us.
Yeah.
Or because we can add stuff to this. But okay, well, let's make a swear jar.
Okay.
And every time one of us swears, well, it's going to be me, but we'll just drop something in it. I don't know, though. I don't know what. Because it can't be money. Because
Yeah, like
Who
paper
carries
clips,
change?
marbles,
okay, marbles.
some kind of something. That's what
Okay,
they do at
we'll think
schools.
about it, and we'll find a jar and a currency to throw inside of it. Yeah, it was just an unusual observation because I think stickers on cars already looks bad, but to
Yeah.
put that on your car,
Yeah, baby.
it's another one.
Yeah, especially when it's something. It's like, what does that even mean?
I don't know. It was just, what that's like. Are
Like, are
you
you the bitch?
this person?
Are you?
I'm saying it.
Oh,
Are you this?
You don't have to.
Anyway, let's get off of that topic. It's just ruining every.
he's falling apart.
This is a very
Baby blank.
professional production. Yeah, I don't know. Just getting around this algorithm is so hard. Just things you can and can't do. It's it's nuts, dude. It's nuts. It's changes and it's just.
It's like a new religion or church creating the doctrine.
Yeah, it's all like a machine, computer. I don't know. That just sweeps.
Yeah,
They just hear they don't even know the context. They don't know
the
anything.
context,
That's just
yeah.
like, oh, we heard that word, so this is.
you're out.
Yeah, it's like I'm making fun of a sticker. I'm not calling somebody that. I'm not looking at a baby and saying, you.
And imagine you're trying to tell the algorithm, hey, no.
Yeah.
And also, hey, I know you're listening, algorithm. Listen up.
Yeah.
Context. And the algorithm's still like, I still heard.
It says that to you. That's the
Still heard
voice
it.
too.
You're flagged. You're flagged.
Oh, now it's got an accent.
You're flagged. What accent
Y'all
is that?
flagged.
You're flagged.
Is that supposed to be
You're
German?
gone. No, now it could be German. Is
Ironic
You're
that
flagged.
the Germans are the ones doing it.
they're doing the AI.
Okay.
It's probably more the Chinese.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Believe that too.
Yeah, no mention
Anytime
of
we
them.
mention any other race,
Yeah, no mention of them. You don't-
okay, it's the whites. It's
yeah,
the Bill
it's the
Gates.
white. You can't talk about anyone
You
but
can't
the
say Bill
whites.
Gates.
Yeah.
or bleeps.
Yeah, this episode is just called Bleeps. Sounds like, remember when they used to have rap on the radio
Yeah.
in the 90s
Oh,
and 2000s and they would bleep it? Like, You're like, what?
Or watching Superbad on cable.
Yeah, everything's or any movie that was on like TNT or something or USA, and it was just they would. Okay, I have a memory of it. I might have told this story before, but it was. I remember watching RoboCop 2 when I was a kid. It was on like TNT or USA or whatever, and so they wouldn't like. I don't know if you remember the early 90s, mid 90s. They wouldn't bleep it. They'd overdub it with something else.
Yeah.
So this particular one, I'll never forget this. It was some guy, and he says bull in response to somebody, but they dub it to baloney, and his mouth is clearly saying like bull. It's like baloney. It's like what? They don't do that anymore, right?
No, they don't.
They just
Not
don't.
really. Yeah.
Well, now we all have streaming.
When now it's streaming, I feel like you don't like Netflix doesn't care.
No, none of the streaming services
Even like the
care because
award
you're
shows.
paying to watch that stuff.
Yeah, they don't care.
And I mean the ethics or ideology of censoring something is already kind of shaky nowadays.
Yeah.
Or like, why are you censoring it? You know, that's their art that they made. We're still like in the 80s into where it was really like when Reagan was president. Like everything's like really family friendly and like. It's just see how far we've come. Or if that was on TV today, it'd be memed to death.
Yeah.
Like, the memers would get it and just it needed to be glorious for content.
Yeah,
but you know, it's weird to think that wasn't that long ago. It was part of our lifetime. I don't know why we're talking about this. What was the point I was trying to make? I forgot. God damn it! This is what no sleep does.
No sleep.
Somebody got very bad sleep last night. I look okay though. Thought I was going to look all red.
No, it's because we had the nice light again.
Yeah, we have the good lighting. This angel lighting, being blasted with light.
It looks so pretty.
Just an apology to the people that watched last week with the lighting. And that had to be the one that Drugstore June reposted.
I know. Sorry, Esther Pavitsky.
It didn't look that bad. But yeah, we talked about Drugstore June last week. And from what I saw, I was the only thing they reposted where someone was talking about the movie. Mm-hmm. It was just, and again, we saw screenings, an advanced screening, so not everyone got to watch it, but that was cool.
Yeah.
Like every other thing they posted, was just like people had their tickets and they're going to go watch it, whatever. And then I didn't expect them to even look at it.
Yeah.
Did you tag them, the movie?
Yeah, I tagged them, yeah.
Oh.
But then one, they liked it and I was like, oh, cool. Because I saw the notification. Like, oh, that's cool. And then I checked the story and they had put it on their story and I was like, oh my God, like, that's really cool that, you know, our show was on there and like it was my face. And I had something like it wasn't the most critical, like influential thing I had to say about it, but it was something, the thing that I said about it being compared to Big Lebowski, I think was for me the most important part about my critique in the movie. And that was the thing they saw.
Nice.
I think that's probably why they posted it.
I think so. There's probably a good amount of info about it like that. And then it was crazy because she was on The Tonight Show, which historically was like, used to be the only way that anyone would hear about you, is that you're on The Tonight Show. So for me, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy too. Because then what if like people watching The Tonight Show then see Marcus.
Oh, I didn't even think about
the story. That's what I was freaking out about.
Is it still up? It's probably still on the story.
So.
I don't know what time it went up yesterday, but yeah, that was the part that really struck me was like, oh, okay, this is cool. But the fact that people are going to see me, like see my face talking about, like people that made the movie, I'm sure, well, maybe not, I don't know, but that follow that would be like, oh, it was just really weird to see my face speaking about this movie and knowing that potentially Nick Goosden's going to see it.
Yeah.
Esther's going to see it. The actors in the movie, whoever, like the people who made it are going to see it. And I was like, oh my God. Like, cause I'm not anything, you know, I'm not established yet, but you know, it was just really, it felt good.
Yeah. And then, and her set on The Tonight Show was funny.
Oh, did you watch it?
A little bit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She had
how long do they do on The Tonight Show?
How long?
Yeah.
I think it's still like an hour.
The set?
How much time did they get?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they do a special?
It's only like 3 minutes probably.
Okay. All right.
But like Tonight Show itself is still kind of long, but
yeah.
it's just living off
Is that Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was it was I felt kind of giddy, which I never feel like that. I remember because Caesar texted right away when they liked it, and I went to go check, and I was like, oh, cool. And then once I saw the story, I like stood up because I was at my desk, and I was like, you know that feeling, that's what I got, and I never get that. I never get that way about anything. So it was just like a really fun high for a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
And
because I got the first jolt because I saw Esther liking my story.
Oh yeah,
but then that's happened before where they've liked the story.
Yeah.
So it could be. Could have been anything.
We talked about it. We're like, man, it's probably like their person, their social media person. It's not necessarily
she's
them.
busy. She's pregnant. She's traveling,
and it's always right away too. I've noticed if you tag somebody famous or previously blue check mark, now everyone can buy it. But previously, if you earned a blue check mark on Instagram and you repost, tag, talk about whatever, it's like right away they like it or they see it. Not necessarily like it, but like right away they see it. So like this is somebody managing this account. That's their job, is to be on here all day. So I'm like, they didn't really, but maybe they did.
I think this is different. I think they did watch it.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool. Drugstore Dune. We talked about it last week. I have no other thoughts really, but should we move into the topic of this episode, or do we have anything else we want to do before we get into?
We could head into it because it's another big week of a really big movie.
Mm-hmm. What movie is that?
Dune
Part 2. Dune Part 2 just came out.
Dune.
And I've read the first 3 novels, Dune novels, and I've done book clubs for all 3. I haven't read. There's Frank Herbert wrote 6 books, and then there's books after that his kids wrote.
Yeah,
that kind of like continue the story, but it's like the canon is questionable because the author didn't actually write it. So we don't talk about those ones.
Okay, because there's like 20 altogether.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like other like expanded content that other kind of like Star Wars, I guess. Like for people, authors will like pull whatever they want and write their own stories. Yeah, it's kind of like Dune. Like that for Dune, but the first 6 books are written by the author. That's his timeline start. That's where it ends. So yeah, I've only read the first 3. Again, done book clubs for all 3, and Part 2 just came out for the movie. And we were talking about the first one because I haven't seen the second one. Neither have you. But you saw the first Dune movie. Yeah, yesterday.
I watched it last night.
Tell me your thoughts.
So. I didn't try to like look too much up about it before. Mm-hmm. I remember when it came out and I thought, wow, like this looks really good. Yeah. It looks really pretty.
Very pretty movie.
Very pretty, and it has every single famous person.
It's got a pretty cast. It's got pretty sets. It's got pretty props. But pretty production.
But like back then it was like I was just busy, so I found something else to do. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like dying to go see it. Right. But then this Part 2 is getting like really good reviews. Yeah. Really insanely good reviews. I noticed that. So it made me want to go back and watch it. So then going back and watching it, I realized that it earned every single Oscar it won. It won a bunch, basically all.
It won the pretty Oscars.
All the pretty visuals, except for the people. Basically it was it. It was like it had editing, sound, score, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. But the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking about all the Star Wars references, or like how it's like Star Wars,
or how Star Wars is like it.
So I looked it up, and I learned that the book came out in 1965. So it heavily influenced George Lucas. Right. And now I'm like, it really, really influenced George Lucas. Yeah. Like so much so with because I mean it's hard to. I mean, the basics is easy to get into. Like, oh, okay, we have these sand people, like Zendaya's group, with all of the really blue eyes, and they seem like they're kind of struggling in the sand. And you get the Drax the Destroyer, the Dave Bautista group, who are in this all black and they're all bald, and they're like attacking everybody. They're attacking the sand people. So it's easy to be like, oh, okay, so like they seem like they're getting attacked.
It's
Does
very
seem kind of bad.
it's very easy with this movie. Dune is so dense that if you're gonna make a movie off of it, it has to be like these are the good guys, these are the bad guys.
Yeah.
This is the objective. Boom, boom, boom. Which I think they did. They went in that direction, like I said, because you have to for this movie, and I know a lot more of what's going on, but I rewatched it yesterday and was like, because the first time I watched it, I was like, it's very whatever. But I did have the thought, I remember I told you and one of our other friends, like, I didn't really like the movie, but I think you guys will.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is very much like a sci-fi movie, even though they're like spitting all these weird dialogue at you that you don't get. It's like, it looks nice and there's fighting, and you probably like it. So I thought that upon me watching it yesterday, I was like, yeah, I guess they did a good job.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I wasn't as hard on it when I watched it because I had so many when I watched it the first time, I saw it in the theater and then IMAX, so it looked great. Mm-hmm. But I had all these expectations, which I knew they weren't going to hit him, but I still had them going into it. Or I was just kind of watching the movie like this, wait, just kind of like, why didn't they do that? Why aren't they explaining what any of this stuff is, or why aren't they talking about this, or why aren't they talking about that? So I was just kind of like a little bitch about it.
Yeah, that's right.
But then I watched it, like I said, I watched it again and was like, I guess this is good.
Yeah, I was just taken by how visually stunning it was.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Because there's a lot of weak effects out there nowadays, and it just had so many cool visuals.
They did a good job with the visuals, especially because Frank Herbert is kind of like the anti-George R.R. Martin, where George R.R. Martin, that's so hard to say. He'll take like 2 pages to describe an apple. Yeah. Like it's just dripping with description about how everything looks and sounds and blah, blah, blah. Frank Herbert, you're lucky if you get a hair color. Yeah. Like it's very much just names, dialogue, inner monologues. That's it. Mm-hmm. So considering they had nothing really to go off of, they did a very good job with how it looks.
So it really doesn't have that much detail on how they look in the book?
No, not really. There's like the blue eyes, obviously you have to explain, but
yeah, because the blue eyes is a big deal.
Yeah, that's the reason for that is a big deal. But yeah, they don't really, because I know that the lady in the movie, Liet Kynes, the black lady, that's a man in the book.
Yeah, so they swapped that. That's fine.
And that's also like I don't even know, like they don't even describe anything other than this is a man that does this job. So like they could be like,
that could be anybody.
They could be black, they could be Asian, they could have like missing an arm. Like you don't even that's not even important.
Yeah.
So like the movie did a good job of making this world look really cool.
I think the main part that you miss, not knowing much about it going into it, is that it's supposed to be people from Earth.
Yeah, so they don't. It's not necessarily. It is important in the story, in a book perspective, because the movie is this way.
Yeah,
it's not important. But yeah, it takes place. I think the year is like 1038, something crazy. Yeah. But it's in our world. Like it's way in the future. These people are all humans. They all came from Earth. They have the guy's name is Paul.
Yeah,
like the main character's name is Paul
and Jessica.
Yeah, they have
the
very
most basic.
Yes, they have very normal names. They're still. I'm like, we're still giving ourselves those names that far in the future.
There's no way.
I mean, what's his name? Paul. Elon Musk calls his kids like Asher X or whatever, and like no, we're still saying Paul in the future.
Jessica.
But yeah, like the grandfather is a bullfighter. Like it's all. These are all, and did you notice the bagpipes? I was like, oh, Clint's gonna see one of the bagpipes.
There's a piper.
There's a bagpipes at play, and it's like,
I was like,
that
might have been my only clue that they could be from like of Earth at some point.
And he's wearing a kilt. Like these are humans.
He's a full blown piper.
Yeah. Yeah, that is in the movie. It's not important, like I said, but in the book is important. That these people did come from Earth.
Yeah, because all I'm thinking is it's sci-fi, so like.
Mm-hmm. It's like you think Star Wars, like galaxy far, far away. It's
I think because all sci-fi, they could all look whatever.
Right.
The whole fun of sci-fi is that, it's in the future or it's far away.
And stuff.
They could be aliens. I was expecting an alien, but
that was
the difference too.
There's no aliens in Dune.
Just interesting.
And then, I don't know if it's in the first book or not, but like in future books, there's other like alien quotes. They they look like kind of like aliens, but it's like they're human. They just evolved in that direction.
Yeah.
So I think they're called the Bene Thalox or something, but I forget how they're described, but they're described as not looking like a regular human.
Yeah.
And there's like little dwarf people and stuff too, the next ones. And that's like, no, they're humans. They just evolved in that direction. So it's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we'll get to your list in a second. I wanted to do like a AMA kind of thing for you if you didn't understand anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they did a good job of keeping it simple.
Yeah.
But I was noticing when I watched it yesterday, like they're saying all these names. How are people going to remember this or know what it is if it's not explained?
Yeah. I think I would only remember the funner sounding names.
Yeah, like
Arrakis is the place.
the planet. Yeah,
Arrakis. That just sounds cool. Arrakis.
yeah. Anything else?
Arrakis. Well, and it's also hard just watching such a spectacle movie and to get everybody's names.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I always think of like Avatar. It's like, is it the better movie if I don't know any characters' names? Like how important is knowing someone's name?
Oh, like you mean the blue people?
Yeah, like the blue people Avatar, where it's
Yeah.
like I know the Jake guy, but
they all look the same.
They all look the
and they
same.
all have like the names are like Utatla.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I can't remember Kuklak. Like, come on.
Kuklak.
Yeah, Kuklak.
Don't say clan
Maybe
after
I did.
that.
I did remember. Oh,
Censor.
Caesar's on it.
Yeah.
Man, he's like the Catholic Church over there. Just
Yeah.
honest. He's like the Pope.
The Catholic Church. Interesting that you said that because
Now we're gonna censor the Pope.
no, we don't have to give sent to the Pope. People know he's weird. There's a Bible in this movie or in this series that they don't talk about called the Orange Catholic Bible.
So I didn't know that.
Because we talked about it a little bit earlier, but this is a sci-fi future movie, like way in the future. But there's no really machines. There's no computer. There's machines. There's no computers. There's no AIs, which they don't explain that in the movie at all. But the reason for that is because there was like a big war essentially amongst humans, and a lot of people died, and they came together afterwards and were like, "This is unacceptable." So they have this thing called the Orange Catholic Bible, which is like it's not really a religious thing. It's just like we'll call it sacrament.
Constitution.
Constitution's the way to put it. And one of the things that's in there is that it's like there will be no machine made in the likeness of a man. I think that's how they word it. Basically, nothing's going to be able to think except for us. So no phones or no smartphone, no computer, stuff like that. You can have like rudimentary machines that help us because like their lights are like floating around and stuff. But that's why
that's spooky.
Yeah, it's. I think it's cool in a way.
No, it is cool. Like,
it's
he
like
wrote this in 1965.
Yeah,
basically describing, and it's like those other books, like 1984, where they're like, watch out for this, watch out for stuff.
It's crazy how in the 50s and 60s they could see stuff that was going to happen.
Yeah, like that's
like these
kind of happening now.
Yeah, it's nuts how
brutal.
a lot of people were able to write about it and like see the direction things are going at that time, and like
it's prophetic.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Frank Herbert was a wild dude. Like, I don't know if you looked him up at all, but like that could be a whole episode.
Just
about
him.
Great, like he loved mushrooms, and that's what the spice essentially is mushrooms.
Yeah. So the spice is funny because I see the spice thing, and in the movie, it's like, okay, I get it. The spice is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Like the Oscar Isaac, the Kane character, he's so about the spice.
Duke,
yeah.
Duke Leto.
And he's so about it. And I think it's funny that that's like something George Lucas took for Star Wars, but like didn't, like spice isn't really a thing. It was just the thing that like Han Solo is smuggling.
Oh, he's smuggling spice?
Technically, yeah.
Oh.
He's on like a spice run.
Oh, spice. Yeah,
spice run. But like they never really like he took it from Dune, but then they'd never do anything with it.
Yeah, this is one thing the movie kind of fails on is the importance of spice in the universe. It's like next to currency as the most valuable thing.
It kind of it's not that much.
Yeah, they make you know that like this is a big deal, but they don't really explain. Like they don't explain that without spice you can't travel through space. Well, I think this is how they explain it in the book. It's think of like light speed travel they do in Star Wars, where like the white thing goes. And So in this, because this is our world, that's essentially going through fold space. And unless you're just totally like coked out on spice or like, you can't navigate space that way. So there will be no travel between planets or anything.
So it's like fuel.
Well,
kind of, sort of.
It's got a lot of purposes, but there will be no economy because no one could travel or do anything.
Yeah.
So it is extremely important. And it is essentially mushrooms because I don't think they do the spice thing in the movie. Probably do in part 2, where when you take it, it's like taking shrooms. Like you go on a trip.
Paul Timothy Chalamet, he can sense like there's spice in the little hut that they're in.
Yeah,
him and his mom.
Right,
and so he like smells it and gets kind of like he reacts to it.
Well, he does like if they do it in the next movie, I don't know how they're gonna do it, but that's like he kind of awakens to it, but then later they do what we call in our world a heroic dose of mushrooms, but a heroic dose of spice where him and his mom, they take it. I think it's called the water of life, but they go on like a trip and like they explain it in the book, and they're able to like see all of their body, like inside of their body, and work. It's a lot. Like it's a lot to explain, but when you read about it, this is one of the great things about Dune is that it's mostly inner monologues. Well, not mostly, but a lot of it's inner monologues where when Paul and Jessica, they do this heroic dose of spice, they explain what's happening in their head and what's happening in their body and how they're actually moving like their organs and stuff, like everything around in their body, and it like really trips you out reading it. But it is essentially mushrooms. You trip.
Wow.
And then like there's like a spice orgy in the book. I don't think they're going to do that in the movie.
Probably not.
Everyone just gets loaded on spice and they're all like naked. And it's kind of like, I think The Matrix took this from it, but the second one where they have that crazy party and everyone's just like rubbing up. They're all like, they're all high. You know they are. But then they're all just sweating and rubbing on each other, having an orgy.
Wow.
They do that in the book, but they do it. They get on spice and do that.
Orgy, censor, orgy.
I don't think you have to censor that.
Censored, I think it might be.
Yeah, that's just Caesar's bit now. He's like, put in a word and censor. But yeah, they kind of don't explain the importance of spice. They explain it's important, but like really, like if there was no spice, it'd be like going back to the Stone Age essentially for them.
So did the Euphoria girl, did the Zendaya people, do they not have spice?
They do. They're
getting
the spice is in the sand. So like they create the water of life with it. The water of life is just this. Okay. There's so much. The spice comes from the sandworms. It's a baby sandworms. They call them sand trout. They secrete this liquid or whatever from their body into the sand. And then like the sand, because it's pressurized, like it just creates the spice. So it goes to the surface, whatever. It's like they explain how it's made, but it comes from the sandworms.
Yeah.
And the sandworms to them are Shai Hulud, which they say in the movie, but they don't really explain, which is essentially their god. Sandworms are god to them. So I don't know. I don't think they actually mine it or anything, but they know about it. They put it like in their food and stuff. They're always ingesting it. That's why their eyes are blue. That's a side effect of spice. And because the spice is everywhere there, it's in the air. So they're always around spice. They're always taking in spice. And when it's in like those little, think of it like sand. It's that size. It's always in everything. You're not really tripping from that, but you're still, you're getting it in your body, and that's why they have blue eyes. Oh. What's your question? It's just what's your question?
So in the movie, the Baron, he tells Oscar Isaac, the Duke, like, hey, you're gonna go to this planet, right? Like
the Emperor tells
Emperor, not the Duke.
No, the Emperor who's not in the movie.
Oh yeah, I know who plays him in part 2.
Yeah, which is horrible casting, by the way, because you can't have what's his name?
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. You can't have him doing. He's just going to be Christopher Walken. That's all he does.
I'm the Emperor.
Yeah, it's going to be so bad.
It's going to be hard to look at.
But yeah, so the Emperor, who does not like Paul, which I'll wait for them to explain that in the next one if they do, or not Paul, does not like the Atreides, or he has reasons, but
his people.
Yeah,
the
Atreides. He takes the Harkonnens, which they call them Harkonnens in the movie, which I've always called them Harkonnens. That's how I say it in the 1984 movie, which saw, but he's like, he has like a plot, but he's like, the Harkonnens, you guys go back to Giedi Prime, which is their home world, that black and white world. And the Atreides, you're going to go to Arrakis. So now you're in charge of spice production.
Oh.
But yeah. So
They're supposed to. Yeah. Okay. I got that.
yeah. Like in the Atreides and the Harkonnens, I don't think they say it in the movie, but they've been at war for a long time with each other. They do not like each other. And this is like feudal. This is like a feudal world. Think of like the feudal times where it's like all these, think of like Game of Thrones. Like there's all these houses that have bad blood and they don't like each other and they're all vying for power underneath the emperor. So those two don't get along. But the emperor is doing that because he has a plot to actually, because they say this in the movie, to support the Harkonnens with his, they're called Sardaukar, those crazy guys that talk weird. That's his army. It's like, I'm going to give you these guys so you can kill the Atreides because I don't like him.
Yeah.
I know you guys are at war with each other.
Yeah.
So you can take care of him because I can't just take care of him. You have to do it. I'm the emperor. I can't just do this. You have to do it. If I'm remembering correctly. So that's why they go to, and it's explained in the book that they know, the Atreides know, like we're like this. If we're gonna do our job, or Duke Leto knows at least. He's like, I'm gonna do my job because that's what I have to do, but I know I'm gonna die here.
Yeah. They seem more confident.
Yeah.
And when the attack happens, he seems like, oh, what is this?
Right. He
like,
knows.
He seems very off guard.
He knows he's.
Like he seems like he didn't know.
No, he knows. That's which I guess Duke Leto's not that in the grand scheme of Dune. He's not that important of a character, so it's fine that they left that out for the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So side note. So as I start watching the movie.
Okay.
Our friend comes into the room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, do you want to watch it with me? I just started it.
Mm-hmm.
You just missed a tiny monologue.
All right.
Okay. So he sits down. 5 minutes in, he passes out.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I guess he didn't want to watch it. I'm still watching.
Yeah.
Gets to like an hour in, he wakes up and he tries to ask me what is happening. If something annoys me, it's when someone isn't paying attention, and then especially to something like this.
Dude, where it's like, you're like, I don't even know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. I just know this is like kind of like Star Wars, but it's not Star Wars. It's kind of just watch.
Yeah. We're not starting it over because it's 2.5 hours long.
Not starting it over. And then he sees the Oscar Isaac like get shot with the death dart thing. He's like, that was anticlimactic. And I'm like, well, maybe if you were watching it since the beginning, you would know. And it's also like, I don't think he's in part 2. I think it's okay that he's done right now. Like, I'm pretty sure he's not supposed to make it. No. And then 2 hours into that, like, most of the people on that poster are not in it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think we're going for like survival in this movie. I think it's like, oh, they got him for that role. And it's like, oh, done. And they were fine with it. Yeah. They were totally cool. They're like, okay, I'll be the king. Done.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of the characters are kind of just, they're here for their minute and that's it.
Even though it's some incredible actor.
Yeah. Well.
And then done.
Spoilers. Jason Momoa. He's going to come back. He's not coming back in the next movie. Or the next. He comes back in the next book.
How?
It just explains. So he might, if they do Dune Messiah, which is the second book, he'll probably come back. But like Josh Brolin comes back. He's a thing.
He seemed like he'd be able to come back.
Yeah, he actually ends up with Jessica. Spoiler.
Oh, Jessica.
Yeah, they go off and do their own little thing. They're not in the actually. They won't be in the next movie if they do another one because they're not in that book. But they come back in the book after that.
Because there's now a part 3.
Well, part 3 would be the next. So part 1 and 2 is Dune.
That first
So
book.
if they do another movie, it's called Dune Messiah. That'd be, I guess they call it Dune Messiah. Maybe not because the Christians would get mad. Probably call it Dune Part 3.
I think, well, there's a lot from Christianity. I think they're okay.
Okay.
I think it's fine.
I don't know. Sometimes they pop off about things.
Maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of like an old way. Maybe back in the 90s.
There's a lot of influence from Middle East, especially like Dune, literally the planet.
Yeah, the stuff they wear.
Yeah, I almost want to call it Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt. Let's make it Jewish now. Yeah.
little Jewish
What was I saying? Fuck.
with the Chalamet.
What was I saying? I had a point. Dang it.
Messiah.
And yeah, if they do Messiah,
Yeah.
which is a really small, but it's like a quick. I read it in like 2 days. It's like a really easy, quick read, but it's just some of these characters will come back. But that book, that book's like a real bummer. It's a sad book, so
Yikes.
I don't think they do it because Paul's like a real bummer in that movie.
Oh.
Like they burn it.
Yeah, I think I
might
have a
not spoil
feeling
it.
that this movie will end a certain way to where then it's like they split up this book into 3 movies.
No, it ends. It ends.
Does it
with
end?
Yeah, it
Do you
ends.
know how it ends?
Yeah, I know how it ends, and it's
The movie?
yeah,
Oh.
because it ends like the book. I
okay.
know it's gonna. I'm not like
I
spoiled.
just don't know why like it's gonna have a part 3 then. Unless
Well,
it just
they
goes
want to
in that next
do.
book.
They want to do Dune Messiah, which is the next book. So I don't know if they're gonna call it Dune Messiah or just doing like part 3, part 4. If they want to do the other books, because I don't know. They might call it Dune Part 3 and they call it Dune Messiah. But no, this second movie ends at the end of the first book.
Okay.
But there is a change that with a character that would. I don't know how they're going to do Dune Messiah now.
Oh.
But
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see how they pull it off. I was going to say something else, but let's go to your questions. Maybe I'll think of it. So you pulled up some questions for me. I guess for you too.
Yeah.
Do you want to
Have that.
explain what your list is?
Well, I had the first one that shows everything that Star Wars borrowed from Dune, and
Okay.
it's kind of a lot.
Sand planet.
Yeah, the Sand Planet. There's this history of war.
Okay.
So you got Star Wars, it's the Clone Wars, but there's some kind of war in Dune, right? That is why they're kind of fighting all the time,
Well,
sort of.
at the end of this book, it starts a war. That's Paul's. It's called his jihad, which is a holy war. It's Arabic, I think.
Yeah.
But Paul, he conquers the universe essentially. But
Oh, Paul does?
yeah, well, the Fremen are now his army, and then they go out on it's called their jihad, but they just kind of like take everything.
Oh.
And Paul becomes the emperor at the end of the movie. Maybe he does in the next book, but he takes everything. He is now the ruler of the universe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the big war I think they're talking about.
Dang. Or he's the Jesus.
Yeah,
Sandcrawlers.
It's called Dune Messiah for
Yeah,
a
he's the
reason. Yeah,
Jesus,
he
yeah.
becomes a Messiah.
Jesus Muhammad. Sandcrawlers.
Sandworms?
Yeah, the sandworms.
Okay.
The Jawas. I mean, they had like the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars. You know, it was like the worm, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's just stuck
Yeah.
in the ground. Spice, we talked about that, where it's like, oh, the Kessel spice run, and then it's like you never see spice in Star Wars.
Right.
But then you got like the Princess Leia type, and the whole Emperor thing.
Well, if that's Princess Irulan, is that who they're saying it is?
Yeah.
She's nothing like Princess Leia. Other
Or
than that,
Princess
they-
Alia.
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 Yeah, they're not. Well, I guess they could be kind of similar.
Their names are similar.
Alia's a badass. Oh, the name. Oh, is it an anagram?
Maybe.
That'd be interesting.
Main character descended from villains.
Villains.
They are the grandchildren of the
Oh yeah,
main
yeah,
villain.
yeah. That's not. It's kind of confirmed, if I'm remembering correctly. It's kind of confirmed, but not confirmed. It's because, not Paul, but Alia. Oh, no, Jessica. Jessica is the child of Gaius Helen Mohim, the old lady, the Tess Paul, and the Baron.
Oh,
The Baron. Maybe they explain it later. I haven't read it, but her, and then the child is Jessica. Sorry, Caesar. He essays her, and he looked around. How did you catch that one? He does that to her, and then she poisons him or curses him. That's why he's so like fat and gross. It's because of her.
Oh.
And then the child is Jessica, and they don't make it like a big deal, but they do confirm it because Alia gets possessed by the Baron. That's later. But
I had a random question. So in there's this like bull head that like watches them.
It's just like a taxidermy head.
Yeah, taxidermy bull.
Yeah, it's like there's like a whole story behind it. Jessica doesn't. If I'm remembering this correctly, it's been so long since I read it. She just doesn't like it. It's like a symbol of death or something. That
is it
the Duke? It's like the Duke putting it in the home because a bull killed the grandfather, I think, or his dad. That he's putting up. It's explained in a way where like this is you're dying by putting this up.
Yeah, because it goes up and then the attack happens.
Yeah, it's like this is bad.
Yeah. And then
But I forget how they explain it. Like
I mean, the movie they don't say
the movie
anything.
they don't, but
They
in
just
the
put it up.
the novel, there's like a story behind the bullhead and like how Jessica feels about it, and she knows like
it
this is not
seemed
good.
important. I just didn't.
Yeah, they don't. Maybe it was a deleted scene in the movie.
Oh, maybe.
That's that too. I was thinking while I was watching it, like I wonder if there's a deleted scenes for this because there has to be. Because that bull thing, they never really bring it up.
They didn't bring it up.
Go to that thing with the facts that you may not know. So the first fact you may not know about Dune.
It's based on
a novel. An epic novel.
Wow, did you know that?
I knew
it's
that.
So lame,
Yeah.
this stupid website.
I was aware. What's the second one?
Previous attempts to adopt the book largely failed.
That I did know. There's a director called Alejandro Jodorowsky who tried to make his version. I forget what year it was, but it didn't. There's a lot of it failed in a lot of ways. There's a documentary. I think it's just called Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune, where he talks about how he tried to make the movie, like all the plans he had, and it was like it would have been cool. It would have been better than this version of Dune.
So why is it so hard?
Because it's such a dense book. It's so hard. Like there's a movie came out in 1984 with Kyle MacLachlan, and it's so weird. Like I'm gonna give you homework tonight. Watch that one now. Compare the two of them. That one it's better in that they try to get weird and they try to explain the weird stuff in the book and they go there. But it's just 1984 especially, like people were like, what is this?
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So, but why is Dune so hard to adapt? It's such a dense novel. There's so much in that book. There's so much there. It's very weird. Like there's a lot of weird. It gets weirder as the books go on. You're like, what? But it's just, and a lot of it's inner monologues, and there's no descriptions about things. And these people they're all human, but they're all crazy smart. A lot of them, they're hyper intelligent. So when they're working things out in their head, it's just, how do you explain this other than through text? You have to visually explain all this stuff to somebody or let them see it.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So the 1984 one, they tried. And people weren't buying it, and then Jodorowsky tried, and then it failed, and they tried again now, and because it looks really pretty, I think people are like, okay, I can get on board.
Yeah, I think that's
and they
really
cut out.
it.
Yeah, they cut out a lot of the weird.
Yeah,
they keep it very serious. The book is serious, but sometimes it's really goofy by how weird it is. And you're like, what? It's hard.
Yeah.
If you try to read it, if you ever want to try to read it, you'll understand why it's hard to make it a movie. It's difficult. It's not easy. It
sounds fun though.
It's not easy to get into, and I had to be in a book club and have things explained to me. I'm like, what? I don't get it. Like I would read certain sentences like over and over again. And like, I don't know what this is trying to say. So that also could be a hurdle by why this is such a hard thing to make.
Yeah, and you've read Game of Thrones books?
I've read Game of Thrones, and those are difficult to read. I've read the first 3. I think I started the 4th one and then just didn't finish it. But those are difficult to read because there's such an investment. Because I don't want to say like long reads because that's different for everybody's style. But it's just so, it's like the opposite of, did I say that earlier on mic? It's like the opposite. It's where it's so descriptive that you're like, you're in it, you know? And that gets kind of daunting. Have you read those books?
Just the first one a little bit.
Yeah, they could be kind of daunting. There's a lot that they're daunting because they give you so much, again, description of how everything looks, but then just the politics of the world. They're like, you have to really read it, and eventually like write notes in it. Just be like, okay, that was that family, that was this family. This is a Game of Thrones. But yeah, you're just like, okay.
And then it's way easier if you watch the show because you see a face that connects to the name. The name is crazy.
Yeah, that's what's kind of good and bad about the show being out. I was like, okay, well now I can visually see that this is what Robb Stark looks like. So when they keep saying his name or whatever, like, oh, I know what's his name, the ginger guy.
The ginger.
But yeah, give me one of these facts because so far they're very underwhelming.
Yeah, well, Stellan Skarsgård, who plays the Baron, was in makeup for 7 hours.
Okay.
He's doing practical makeup, and all the costumes look really good.
Yeah, they had
I'm
great.
surprised that costuming didn't win that year.
Probably what won that year?
2022.
Oh, whatever, it's not important. But give me another fact.
Let's see. And then Hans Zimmer really wanted to do the movie, and he bailed out of Christopher Nolan.
He what?
He bailed off of Tenet to do Dune.
I think that's a better choice.
Yeah.
That's the more creative choice.
It sounds like everybody, once they knew that Dune was possibly happening, jumped on it.
Once the people are like, with the director was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is my plan.
Yeah. And now it's one of those things where I want to look back at a lot of other movies or TV that's been made and be like, oh, this was all inspired by Dune. That's crazy.
I'm sure it's a lot.
It's pretty prolific.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like learning about stuff like that. Like when people say like Star Wars, for example, like if they just haven't seen it, you just have to like know that it's influenced a lot of stuff. So now Dune, it's like, oh, well, I kind of want to know it now, so that
it's like
I
Dune
can see
is
all
the
influence.
Dune is the grandfather.
That's the
granddaddy.
Yeah, grandpa of Star Wars.
Do you think about if you think about Star Wars of like, oh, this is influenced from Star Wars. It's influenced from Dune. Okay.
Well, 1965.
Yeah, get it right, guys.
That's
it's not
crazy.
It's not from George Lucas's brain. It's from Frank Herbert's brain.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Because of
course,
now
you have that flex too. You're like, I know who actually thought of this first.
Yeah. And of course, our friend was like, "Oh, it's just a boring Star Wars," and I'm like, "Well,
no, it's not.
Go read a book."
Boring Star Wars. What? I can't. That's so. Never mind. I'm not going to roast him.
There's not enough time to roast him.
No, it's not of no value. But
so why did they leave the character that Sting played in the David Lynch one? Why did they take?
So he's in the next movie.
Fade Rautha.
Fade Rautha. He's going to be the next one. He's just kind of someone to put up against Paul, like a young guy like him. So Austin Butler plays him in the next movie. I hear he did a pretty good job. But Fade is just the counter Paul.
Yeah.
They have okay, let me learn you some stuff. They have a intertwined kind of thing going on because Jessica was supposed to the Bene Gesserit, these ladies that Jessica's part of that group, they have this thing called the breeding program where they want to create essentially a prophet messiah thing.
Oh, yeah,
it's the Kwisatz Haderach. And they have this this is like thousands of years. They plan in the long run. They plan like thousands of years down the road of how they want to do things. And their goal is to kind of just ascend humanity, want the best thing possible for humanity. So they have a thing called the breeding program, to where the Bene Gesserit, they have Reverend Mothers, which is that lady with the box. They do this thing where they take the water of life, and then it's essentially a poison for their body, and they work it out, and they transcend like normal thought, where they're able to see into their genetic memory. So like that lady can see, she has the memories of every woman in as far back as you can go in her genetic line. So she's crazy. She knows like stuff from thousands of years in the past because she has access to her genetic memory. So far, there's no man that can do that. So their goal through their breeding program is to have a man be able to see into their genetic memory. And that's what they want. That's what they're looking for. And so Jessica was supposed to have a daughter. And then that daughter was supposed to get with Fade and then they would produce this Kwisatz Haderach. That was like this was the end game. This is their deal, and because Jessica, she's not married to the Duke. She's his concubine. But
that's what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll explain that in a second. But because she loved him and he wanted a son, she was like, "Okay, I'll give you a son." So the Bene Gesserit were like, "What the f- you ruined? Like this was thousands of years, right?
Oh wow!
And you just ruined it for this one reason."
Yeah.
But they're calm ladies. Like they keep their cool. They don't really do that to her.
She was intense though.
Yeah.
The head one.
Yeah, she was a scary.
She a baby.
Paul is already. It's already like you're already like They test him because they think, well, maybe he can do it. Like, you ruined it, Jessica. We had it perfect, but maybe he can be this guy. And he ends up being that guy. But
yeah,
that's kind of like Fade was supposed to produce that thing. So like they're already they're kind of like, you're not supposed to be here, kind of thing for them. So they have like a little bit of a rivalry.
Nice.
But yeah, so what was I saying about, the Duke? He's not married to Jessica. They're essentially like husband and wife, but he's not married to her because this family. In fact, he's a bachelor. He has more power that way. So if he needed to marry another woman from another house or whatever to like unite them, he's got that available to him. But they're together. They love each other. She's his royal concubine.
They said it out loud, and I realized, it's not just like a slur. It's like, no. It's actually she's a concubine.
Yeah, she's concubine. They're not married, but that's his bitch.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
I can talk about Dune forever, but we're getting at the end. Do you want one last question or anything?
Let's see.
Did you have any? Was there anything about the movie that you did not understand, or do you want something cleared up a little bit more? Anything about the Fremen?
Fremen.
I can give you a fun fact about the Fremen if you don't have anything.
Yeah, I think we could go off that.
Okay, so we're talking about the Bene Gesserit.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have this thing called, they talk about it a little bit in the movie, but it's called the Missionaria Protectiva, where, because these ladies have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and they're super intelligent, and there's so much I can say about them, but I won't. They have this plan where they've set up on different planets, Arrakis being one of them, these stories. They've told these stories to superstitious indigenous people to where it becomes religion for them, like in the future, like years and years later. So on Arrakis, they essentially created the Fremen religion as a safety for them if they need to use it in any way.
Oh.
So the scene where Lady Jessica is talking to Mapes, that maid, and she pulls out the knife, and the maid says like, because everyone thinks that part of this religion is like there's going to be a prophet that comes here with his mother, and they're going to be from another planet, blah blah blah. So like when they show up when they first show up in Arrakis, and they're all like, "Lisana lakai iblis," that's them saying like that's prophet, that's them. So they're like, he's here. Our prophet's here. The one's going to save us is here. And that's all a story that the Bene Gesserit made up thousands of years ago. So when Mapes pulls out that knife and she says that phrase, she knows that the prophet's mother is going to know how to finish this because it's part of the religion. So she does finish it, and that's why she's like, she's like, you guys are here, you're here. So it's like the Bene Gesserit are these crazy ladies. They created this religions on all these planets as a means of like manipulating them if they need to for safety, which Jessica does do. She knows like, I need to get this bitch on my side. Shout out Mapes. Shout out. So she finishes the story, and then it ends up being like true for them, like because Paul ends up liberating these people. Spoiler later, to where he is their prophet, but it was like the Bene Gesserit spoke this religion into existence, but it ends up becoming true, and it's just that's what's crazy about Dune is it's so dense. There's so much. I didn't even explain the Bene Gesserit at all. Like that's a whole another 30 minutes. Yeah, or like all the other houses. There's so much. There's so much in these books that why to answer that question, why is it so daunting? For that reason, there's so much going on, and like how would you explain what I just said to? I didn't explain it that well, but how would you explain it to just a normie? You can't. You can't explain it to them. So, read Dune, everybody. Read the movie. Read the books. Watch the movie. The movie is not bad. It's a fun time. It's a pretty movie.
Go see Go see part 2.
Yeah, go see part 2.
We'll see part 2. I'll go see it at some point this week.
I'll probably wait for streaming. Because even yesterday, I kept pausing the movie, like get a snack or like go to the bathroom or just, you know, look at my phone.
It was nice.
It's so long.
It is long.
But yeah, shout out Mapes. And we'll stop it there. Any other finishing Dune thoughts? No, okay.
We've done it.
We're doing it. Caesar?
Get her Dune.
Get her Dune.
Follow me at I am Caesar Rod.
Boo.
At Rodriguez Podcast. And yeah, keep a lookout for some more stuff coming soon.
Yeah, he's got some fun stuff coming up. Clint.
At the _Clint show. Let's do it, people. Let's go deep.
Yeah, deep.
What does that mean?
Let's go deep. Let's go deep.
Yeah, like a boot in your ass.
All right, Pete. Toby
To
Keith.
bleep that?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, you have to bleep boot and ass. Uncle 2 _ Marcus. I can't even speak. Uncle 2 _ Marcus and all the things. 30s podcast and all the things. Watch Drugstore Dune. Read Dune. Watch Dune. Be Dune. Embrace Dune. And that's it. We're done. Bye bye.